Okay, all right. So as usual, we will do a short kirtan. Okay, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Everyone, Namo
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Everyone,
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Asya Desatarine
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Everyone, Jaya
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Okay, repeat everyone.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare
Hare.
Second round.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Repeat everyone. Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Third round. Who's gonna go? Like silent already.
All together, Mataji. You
Oh
sing
no!
together.
Sing and repeat. Okay. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna
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 Krishna.
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Okay, everybody repeat. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo! All glories to everyone. Okay, so basically the way to sing is one person, the lead will sing and the rest of us will follow. So we all will follow the same tune. Okay, so thank you everyone. Kajay Mataji took the lead, Indra Mataji took the lead. Thank you so much. Okay, so refresh and recap. Who remembers what is the title of the week number 19? For a start. Okay. Week 19. Okay, never mind. Before that, I would like to go through all the topics that we went. Now we are on week 21 minus the week 16. Okay, that topic I skipped. I will keep it for another time, maybe end of this module. All right, so who remembers the first topic that we did? Pertama kali. First topic, level 3, first topic. Matiku was that, Mataji? Difference between what and what? Okay, let me roll the ball first, okay? The first topic was human versus animals. Okay, and then we saw how humans and animals are very much similar in doing the 4 basic things: eating, mating, defending, and sleeping. But there is one difference between humans and animals, which is asking questions. And animals do not ask questions. Okay, what to speak of asking philosophical questions, but humans ask philosophical and spiritual questions. So there are 3 questions. Who remembers what are those questions?
Who am I?
Yes.
Suffering.
Why am I suffering? Very good.
And then why am I suffering? Why is this happening and suffering?
Yeah, why am I suffering? Okay, number 2. Number 3. Who is?
Who is God?
Yes, who is God? 3 questions. Okay, humans ask these questions. Okay, there are generally 2 kinds of questions humans can ask. They can ask material questions and they can ask spiritual questions. Material questions usually revolves around these 4 activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Okay, 1 step above, they ask spiritual questions or philosophical questions, which is all these 3 questions. Okay, but before we went to the questions, we covered week 2. We learned about this, pratyaksha pramana, anumana pramana, and sabda pramana. What are these things that we learned? Why did we learn all these things? These are the ways that we can get knowledge. These are called sources of knowledge. So this one we covered in week 2. Okay, pratyaksha, direct sense perception. Number 2, anumana means making inferences. It could be speculation. Okay, yeah. So the best source of knowledge is hearing. Okay, so hearing from the Vedas, hearing from the Guru. So this is the source of knowledge, the best source of knowledge. Okay, so I also under this source of knowledge, we actually covered why the pratyaksha not really works, why the anumana doesn't really work, because pratyaksha have some defects. What are those defects? How many defects are those? Anybody can remember? Anybody can recall?
Got 4 defects lah, but
yes,
all cannot remember.
First is imperfect senses. Second is illusion. Very good. Number 3,
making mistakes.
Yes. The 4th is tendency to cheat.
Cheating.
Yes, very good. Okay, now going back to the 3 questions. So we started covering these questions from week 3 onwards. So what was the first question that we covered?
Who am I?
Who am I? Very good. What was the next question in the subsequent week? Why am I
suffering?
Why am I suffering? So why we suffer? Because we are trapped in this material world. So in the 5th week, we covered what is material world. After that, the 3rd question in week 6. What is the 3rd question?
Yeah, it was who is God?
Who is God? Yes.
Opulence of God, I think.
Who is God? So under that, we already cover all this information, opulence. These are the details. After that, in week 7, we covered the glories of the holy name. And then we went into understanding and learning about various, we learned reincarnation. Okay, our transmigration, how we reincarnate, okay, the evidence and everything. Okay, so why we reincarnate? Why do we come back again and again? What is the cause? That we covered in week 9. So how do you connect that? How many of us are here? 9 of us are here. Very good. Mari. Why do we take birth again and again? Why do we reincarnate? Tamari Mataji, I miss you.
I miss you too. Miss this class actually.
Why, Mataji, you think? Why we reincarnate?
We
It's just one word. Only one word.
Liberation.
No. Oh yeah, why we cannot liberate? What is causing us to be like, so trapped here, chained here?
Karma.
Due to past action.
Yeah, Gunalan Prabhu. Yeah. Karma. Wow, it comes with the fireworks. Gunalan Prabhu's answer. Tamari Mataji, what was the what did you mention just now?
A liberation, I said. Liberation.
Yeah, we are not able to be liberated because karma is holding us here. Okay, because we are suffering and enjoying the reactions. So week 9, we covered karma. So how to avoid karma? What we must do? What are the one thing among many things? What that one thing we can do to avoid karma? This is regarding food.
Whatever we offer it with love, devotion. Love and devotion was like the leaf or a flower or a fruit or water. Lord will accept if it is given with love and devotion.
Yes, very good. In week 10, we covered offering to the Lord. Okay, apart from this, okay, this is one way to be Krishna conscious or God conscious. Okay, whatever we enjoy, we want to give to Krishna first. This is one way. What is the other way? How can we go back to Krishna at the time of death? What you must do?
Yes. Must do devotional service.
Okay.
Must connect sadhu sangha. Must give up false ego.
Okay, and then at the end,
remember Krishna.
Yes, Ante Narayana Smriti, remembering Krishna. All right, very good. And then, so what happens if we accumulate some bhakti? Okay, and then we die. What happens? Does it get zeroized, or what happens when we come back?
No, we continue from where we live.
Yes, and why is it so? What is the characteristics of that bhakti that we are speaking about? Okay.
Devotional service, chanting.
Yes, these are the details. These are the examples of the devotional service.
The 9 forms of Mataji, are you asking about the 9 forms of our devotion?
No. I'm asking the characteristics of this bhakti, the nature of this bhakti. If you take your material possessions, your career, your cow, wealth, and everything, when we die, it becomes zeroized, which means it is temporary. So when you come back, you're going to start from scratch. Yes. However, bhakti is not like that. Like you mentioned, we will continue where we have left off. So what characteristic is that?
Bhakti
never...
Yeah.
How to remember Krishna?
Bhakti never resets, so it's just continuing.
Bhakti, what Mataji? Sorry?
Never reset.
Never reset. Okay. Yeah, what is that, Mataji? Just now Yashoda Mataji answered.
Eternity of bhakti.
Correct. Are you referring something?
Yes.
Okay. Try to save from your memory. Okay, so that's deactivate all these cells sleeping for 1 month. Yeah, so eternity of bhakti. Okay, so this is the end of your module 1. Okay, 12 weeks under module 1. And then we advanced to module 2. So we started off how to do bhakti. And what did we cover? We covered rules and regulations, the principles of bhakti, regulated principles of bhakti. Okay, so this is different from regulated principles of life, like no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. So that is a 4 principles a regular man should follow. However, for Bhakti, people who in Bhakti path, they have different set of principles, like waking up in the morning, chanting, worshipping, offering. Okay, these are all regulated principles of Bhakti. All right, and then we went on to understand the importance of prayers, and we covered some prayers by famous personalities from the past, because when we want to say prayers, we might not find the right word, so it's best that we repeat words that has been said or spoken by great personalities from the past. And then we continued on devotional services. Okay, you see a devotional service, offering to the Lord, remembering Krishna, practicing some rules and regulations, and then offering prayers. What else we learn? We learn about a tree, a specific special tree, a sacred.
Tulsi.
Yeah, we covered the glories of Tulsi Devi. So after this class, has anyone started worshipping Tulsi in your house? Probably you have Tulsi garden in your house. Probably you have started a nice pot, and then every morning you sakambambale or you offer some lamp or flower. Okay, so maybe you have done all that. Okay, so you can share with us if this class has given you a new look, new sight, or new perspective on the Tulsi that you have at your house. Okay, or maybe you have started offering water to Krishna with the Tulsi inside, or milk or fruits. Okay, so I hope some new things have come up from that. Okay, so this is the topic that we skipped, about tilak. Okay, so we skipped and then we went to number 17. Kali's 4 legs. What are these Kali's 4 legs? Who is this Kali? Oh, I haven't started recap now. It's almost 8 already. Kali 4 legs. Yeah, sorry, Mataji. Who is this Kali and what are his legs?
Kali is the 4 pillars of our spiritual life.
Kali is age of destruction, Kali Yuga. Okay, so we learn about the personality of Kali who appeared 5,000 years ago, and he was beating the cows and bulls. So King Parikshit came and asked, "Why are you beating these poor creatures?" Yeah. So Kali's 4 legs is that no meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling. These are the Kali's 4 legs. So wherever these characteristics or symptoms present, that means Kali has already showing its ugly heads. Okay, because Parikshit Maharaj was so good that Kali could not stay anywhere, because everything was so virtuous and everything is full of righteous things. Okay, so Kali asked Parikshit, okay, if everything is so good because you are still on the earth, where should I go? Then Parikshit said, okay, you can go where all these 4 activities are ongoing, as well as where there's a lot of gold. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's another big topic. So we will go. Okay. So from here, the spin-off is that we learn about sins and lust. Okay. We covered the sitting places of sins and lust. Sitting places and lust. Okay. Anybody remembers what are the 3 sitting places of lust? Where the lust sits? Mind. Mind. Intelligence.
Gambling, Mataji?
Yeah, sorry?
Gambling?
No. Where the lust sits in a person. The
Mind, intelligence.
There's one more place.
Mind, intelligence, sense.
False ego.
Is it false ego? No.
Sense, mind.
Sense, right, Mataji? Senses, mind, and intelligence, right? These are the neighbors. Okay. All right. So after that, we went to learn about false ego. Right? These are the part of subtle bodies already. Okay. After learning about false ego, what are the 3 components of comprise of subtle body?
Spirit, soul. Is it?
Okay, what is soul? The spirit soul. Okay,
Spirit
spirit
soul.
soul is the pure element. Okay,
False ego, mind, intelligence.
very good. Yes. So out of that 3, we cover false ego in week 19. And then in the subsequent week, we covered mind, intelligence,
soul.
and soul. Very good. Yes. Now we are still under this section. That's why I want to repeat this 19 and 20. So today we will go into nature of the mind and mind control. We want to understand what is this mind about? How does he behave? What is his characteristics? And how do we control him? So something wrong with the characteristics, some challenges with the mind that we have to control. All right. Okay, so I believe there should be another topic for us to finish this module 2. All right, so we will recap false ego, we will recap mind, intelligence, and soul before we go to week 21. Okay, so this is week 19, yeah? So how did we start this? We started by discussing this. Who is the first person you can think of to whom you would like to apologize but do not want to? Why? What is holding us? Our false ego. Very good. We think we are always correct and others are wrong. Okay, so what are the 2 types of bodies? Now the recap comes. What are the 2 types of body? Very easy, right?
Gross and subtle.
Very good. Gross and subtle. What does a person with false ego think about himself? Okay, I'm going to keep this question first. We're going to run through all these recap questions. What does a person free from false ego think about his position? How do we get free from false ego? These are the things that we covered under week 19. Okay, anybody would like to try luck? What does a person with false ego think about himself? Just give me one. Yes.
He's the doer of all the activities.
He always thinks that he is the doer. Okay. So on the contrary, how does a person who is free from false ego thinks? What does he think? Gunalan Prabhu, would you like to try? On the contrary, if a person who is
basically simple, humble, and a lot of humility.
Okay, what else? If the person with false ego thinks that he is the doer, on the contrary, how does a person who is free from false ego thinks?
They think Krishna is the doer.
Yes, that is that answer. And how do we exactly do that? How do we get free from false ego? By always remembering
attachment, always remembering Krishna.
Always remembering that the Lord is the supreme controller. Okay, so for these questions, right, I'm going to run through the slides, all right? So there are 2 types of bodies, gross and subtle. So tepukan for those who answered correctly. All right, subtle body consists of mind, intelligence, and false ego. Also clap for you all. Okay, the next question is, how does a person who has false ego thinks? He thinks that we are the doer. The false ego makes us think that we are the doer. And then apart from that, it pushes us to take credit for everything. Everything I did. All this happened because of me. Okay, we don't think that somebody else has permitted it. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna say, I am the overseer and I am the permitter. Okay, as a super soul, the super soul does this job, permitter and overseer, sorry. Okay, a bit more to elaborate that he thinks that he is the doer. This is regarding a person in false ego, yeah. Okay, no knowledge that he is under the control of the Lord. He doesn't know, he's not aware that he's being controlled by the Lord. And thus he takes all credit for doing things independently. So this is a person with false ego think about himself. So he actually forgets that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Rishikesha. Rishikesha means, the translation of Rishikesha means master of the senses. So all the senses that we have, there is a master and we are not the master. Krishna is the master. So what happens? Forgetfulness kicked in. That's why we forget. So how do we forget? Because for so long, for limitless number of births, we have been using our senses to satisfy our own selves. Okay. So in due course, we are bewildered by this false ego and we forget our eternal relationship with Krishna. So it happens in a very long time, over a long time. Okay. All right. So here Krishna gives a sloka from 3.27. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. So this is also a long topic we covered because we have been constantly in touch with the material nature, and thus because of the influence of certain modes, we act in a certain way. Okay, so we are covered by this false ego. So we think that we are the doer. So all this covering the question, what does a person with false ego think about himself? But Krishna says he is not aware that however intelligent he may be, however proud we may be for our position, death is sure.
Yes,
That's why they say, as sure as death. Okay, we need to understand that everything is only temporary. So if it's everything temporary, then why are we so caught up with this false ego? Why? Whatever that we collect at the end, Krishna takes away. Mrityu sarva haraschaham. 10.34. I am death and I take away all your position. Mrityu means death. Okay. So one example is Hiranyakashipu. We just celebrated Narsingha Charudasi. So he was so puffed up with the power and wealth that he had. Finally, the Lord came and killed him. Everything was finished within a second. Okay. Now, on the contrary, a person who knows, who is not influenced by false ego, how does he behave? This is the way. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, Almighty armed, does not engage himself in the sense and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. So this person can actually distinguish, he can discriminate. Okay, this is sense gratification activity, this is fruitive activity, this is work in devotion, and then he chooses which one he wants to enjoy, engage in. Okay, those that does not give him reaction, he will engage in such activities. So these are elaboration on that. Okay, one who knows the Lord is not deluded by false ego. So he knows all these things, that he is part and parcel of Krishna, that he is unattached to the activities of the material senses, he is not disturbed by material problems. Okay, even there is a problem, he'll take it as the mercy of the Lord. Okay, and he knows that he is controlled by the Lord. This is very important word here. He realized that he is trapped here and he wants to get out. Okay, not like the the boars, the pigs, they meddle, they play in the puddle and they are so happy. I'm all right, like Lord Indra, he was put in a pig's body and he didn't want to come out. Okay, when somebody came and called him, I think Lord Brahma or Narada Muni, come Indra, you come. No, I'm fine, it's so nice here to play. Yeah, so he's illusioned. Okay. All right, so it is important that we become free from false ego. How? By remembering that only the Lord is the supreme controller. So to substantiate this, okay, as we mentioned earlier, Bhagavad Gita is the cream of all the Vedas and Puranas and Upanishads. However, Prabhupada has translated one Upanishad, okay, and we can pick this verse from the Upanishad where it says, Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. Sarvam means all. Okay, so I've given you the translation here. Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam, controlled by the Lord. All, whatever in this universe, everything is controlled by the Lord. So this is a very important sloka from Sri Ishopanishad. Okay, the full translation is this. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord, not us. Okay, not us. Okay, so this is an important word. Right. So that's week 19. And then we went to week 20. Okay, week 20, we have learned a hierarchy, putting things in ascending order, superiority, for the superiority. Okay, so Gunanan Prabhu, sleepy
Sorry,
already?
sorry. I'm not well.
Oh, I see, Prabhu. Okay,
I
okay.
had a surgery.
Mm. Okay, so the topic of week 20, anybody remembers? We just covered just now in the first slide.
Yeah, the mind, intelligence, and the soul.
Yes, very good. Okay, so we put everything in order. Okay, so we will do that quickly later. What is the hierarchy that we discussed? Why is the mind higher in hierarchy than the senses? What is the constitutional position of the soul? That means the original position of the soul. Should we artificially try to stop enjoying our senses, and why? Okay, so here Krishna gives an order, certain things in order. He says that first there is a dull matter, all right? Above that, there is working senses. Above that, there is mind. Above that, there is intelligence. And above all of these people, there is the soul. So this is the hierarchy. So can remember, body. If body doesn't function if there is no soul inside, okay? Otherwise, it's just a dead thing, okay? Body,
Sense,
mind, sorry,
body,
senses, body, senses,
mind,
then
intelligence.
mind, intelligence, and soul. Okay, we actually went through all the reasons why the senses is higher than body, why the mind is higher than senses, why the intelligence is higher than mind, why the soul is higher than everything else. Okay, so we covered all of this, so you can read this. Okay, or we can go through now also. Senses higher than body because lust is within the body. Okay, but it will not act until the senses are engaged, because that is the window to vent out, right? So it comes through the vent of the senses, what we want to see, what we want to hear, what we want to eat. So all this satisfies the senses. Mind is higher than the senses because even when the body or senses are sleeping, the mind is always active. Okay, it dreams. So that's why it says that when we grow old, even though the body cannot function as much, right, the mind is always full of desires. The mind is always active. So mind is stronger than the senses. All right. Okay. Higher than these two is the intelligence, because above the mind is the determination of intelligence. It can direct the mind and help us discriminate. Okay, like just now I mentioned, Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, right? You can differentiate between fruitive activities and you can differentiate devotional service. So you can choose. So the intelligence comes here to choose. Okay, mind and senses, please engage here, not here, like that. Okay, higher than that is the soul, because the soul is not contaminated by anything temporary. It does not get destroyed because it comes from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is spiritual. All right. And because it has come from the master, the soul's constitutional position is to serve the master. Okay. That is the meaning of that constitutional position. Okay. Constitutional position of the soul is to serve Krishna. Until this is done, we will not get satisfaction, because the soul is not doing its job yet, because the soul is serving the senses of the body. So some temporary flickering happinesses will be felt, but it is temporary. Okay. If we understand this and serve him, the intelligence, mind, and senses will never deviate, because they are lower than the soul in the hierarchy we saw. So we should not, follow this general motivational lines, follow your mind, enjoy. No, you have to remember, having this knowledge, we have soul will dictate intelligence, intelligence will dictate mind, senses, and the body. All our working senses will work that way, not bottom. We call it top. I don't know, there's this term that we call bottom up and top down, like that. Okay, so it should be top down, not bottom up. Okay, so this is the hierarchy again. All right, so the last question is, can we artificially renounce our senses, activity, our senses? The answer is No, we cannot artificially try to give up enjoying our senses. Okay, how do we give up these enjoying senses? By doing some yogic processes like not eating, controlling the breathing, or being away from all this family and love and duties. Okay, so being away from all this is artificially trying to give up our senses. But train ourselves in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence is the way. Okay, we cannot artificially try to give up, but we can train ourselves. Okay, we can purify them. So we went through this. Yoga actually is actually meant to control the senses. Okay, so if we compare with the bhakti, what does it do? It purifies the senses. So ultimately, it does fit the purpose of controlling the senses. Okay, purify the senses is better than controlling senses. Why? Okay, how do we do this? By positive engagement in service of God, like this. You're eating, music, literary, cooking, serving, everything, good association. Why? Because when you just do these yogi processes by controlling the senses, one day there is a tendency for it to come back. The distractions, the desires, there is high chance for it to come back after some time. Okay, however, when you already purify the senses, it will help to keep the bad engagements at bay. Okay, so this is a picture of the chariot. We will look at this picture in week 21. Okay, so that's about it, I think. Yeah, so that is the recap of week 19 and 20. All right, so I'm going to close that. Now I'm going to go to week 21. Okay. Okay, Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, this one we did already. All right, so this is the energizer question for today. Speak your mind. Can you share one recent instance when someone tried controlling you? So today's topic is this nature of the mind and mind control. So we're talking about control here. So any recent incident, somebody tried to control you, and what was your reaction? Nobody? Come, long time no talk. I want to hear you all. Kajai Mataji, come on.
Mataji, I don't have anyone trying to control me.
Ah, so nice. Okay, maybe long ago, maybe in school, or you had friends, or
long ago means maybe when I was a child. My dad, he had three things that we cannot fool around, which was our food, our studies, and our sleep, because he was a military man. So he controlled everything, how much we eat, how much we sleep. Every time must score the highest. Life was quite miserable then, but let's not go there. But just to share, yes, he controlled our lives.
Yeah, so certainly not a pleasant thing to be in, right? So that was your reaction. Okay.
Didn't help though, because I'm not very disciplined myself. So it actually didn't work.
Sorry, Mataji?
It didn't help because it didn't work. I didn't end up becoming more disciplined or anything like that. So
oh dear.
Experiment failed for him.
Okay, all right, understand. Nice, Mataji. Okay. Anybody else would like to share any recent incident? Somebody tried to control you, and what was your reaction? So when we were smaller, we had very little autonomy, so we just have to follow. Okay. But as we grow bigger and maybe we get seniority at workplace, so if you maybe come across this kind of thing, so probably you will be able to gather some courage and to speak to this whoever superiors or what. Let me do the way that I want to do, and we see how it comes out. So we find this kind of diplomatic way to come out of that situation. So this is a pleasant way of coming out of it. All right. You may have differences of opinions, but that does not mean problem. Okay, it doesn't mean issues. But other times that if you're not able to voice it out, then it's very unhealthy. You know, it doesn't give you a very pleasant feeling to associate with that person anymore. So, I mean, this is just my sharing. Okay, so generally what we can conclude is that nobody wants to be controlled. Okay, so same goes to our mind. Our mind doesn't want to be controlled by anyone. So it will rebel. The more you say, no, wake up early and study, no, sleep. So you have the bad wolf and the good wolf. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. Nature of the mind and mind control. So before this, right, we already understood what is mind. Mind is part of our subtle body. What is intelligence? How to purify our senses to overcome lust. So all this we covered previously. Now today we will understand the nature of the mind, how to purify the mind. Okay, so that the intelligence will be purified. Okay, so our aim is to understand how the mind and intelligence works. All right, so Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita, 2 characters of mind. It can be, if you control it, it will be your friend, best friend. If you do not control it, it will be your worst enemy. Okay, so I have a question for you all. This is from chapter 6. Chapter 6 title is Dhyana Yoga, or sometimes it's called Ashtanga Yoga. So Krishna will give very detailed process of how to do dhyana, meditation, the best way. You have to go to a secluded place, you have to find this kusa grass, sit on the deer skin, and you have to adjust your seat not too high, not too low. Okay, and then focus on the tip of the nose and focus on the super soul and meditate. All right, so when Krishna was telling this, what was Arjuna's reaction? Who remembers? Anybody can remember what was Arjuna's reaction to all these rules and regulations Krishna was telling?
Is it something about he can't calm the mind?
Ah, yes, very good. You are there, Mataji. Any more? What did he say about the mind? Why he say cannot be calm? Something he compared the mind to. What was that?
I can't recall.
Oh, but it's so good, Mataji. You can remember to that extent. Yeah. Anybody else would like to try?
Exactly. I cannot say it's difficult to control my mind than the wind.
It's difficult to control the
Mind than the wind.
Then the wind. Very good. Okay, so our 2 Matajis here, superb memory. That is what Arjuna said. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Oh, Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. And this statement coming from a great archer. Okay, Arjuna can fight with both hands in all directions. Okay, and he has hit he's actually gotten he's actually whose son? Lord Indra's son, right? So he's such a powerful person, and he says that such a powerful person says that I cannot control the mind. So can you imagine us, sapala kita, you know, he's such a great warrior, and compared to us, how are we trying to subdue our mind and do meditation? So 5,000 years ago, Arjuna already spoke on behalf of us. Krishna, we can't do this. Okay. So Arjuna complains that the mind is very difficult to control. He even says that it is easier to control the wind than to control his own mind. Okay. Of course, controlling the wind itself, he said, it seems like possible for him, but controlling the mind is not possible. Okay, so these are the 4 characteristics of mind, because we wanted to understand what is the nature of the mind. This is the nature of the mind. Okay, this is the answer for the question of the topic of the week. Mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Okay, right. Okay, can we have somebody to read? Maybe I want to give my voice a break. Gunalan Prabhu? Oh, is it okay for you to speak, Prabhu?
Yeah. The mind is so strong and obstinate that it sometimes becomes the intelligence, although the mind is supposed to be subservient to the intelligence. it is certainly very difficult to control the mind.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So this is what we discussed just now. So we will move on. Now we have a chariot here. This is the chariot. The chariot is the body. Our body is this chariot. Okay, we have the horses. We have the strings. Those are the reins and the driver. And we have the soul sitting at the back. Okay, this analogy is from Katha Upanishad. Okay, earlier we saw Isha Upanishad. Now Katha Upanishad. There are so many Upanishads. Okay, they form part of the Vedas. Okay, they are like annexes after each Vedas. All right, so let's go here. Yeah. Okay, you can see, right, the picture. We start from here. The passenger is the individual. We are the soul. All right. The driver is the intelligence. So the intelligence is using the mind, dictating the mind to control the senses. These are the horses. Let me expand the picture. So you will see here the Atman sitting at the back. Okay. The Buddhi is working for the Atman. The Buddhi is using the mind to control the Indriyas, all the senses. Okay. Now, intelligence is supposed to direct the mind. But the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes one's own intelligence. So sometimes it backfires like that. Okay, just like how you want to administer a medicine for some sickness, but the sickness is so strong the medicine doesn't work. Okay, now how do we control the mind then? So it is recommended by practice of yoga. But Arjuna has spoken on behalf of us that it's not practical thing for me, Krishna. Okay, so if it is not possible for Arjuna, how it is possible for us, for a modern person like us? Okay, we have a lot of things to do, a lot of things in our mind. The symptoms of Kali is that people will be easily disturbed, always in anxiety, memory loss. These are the few of the symptoms, the characteristics. Okay, so the comparison that Arjuna used is that if you can't capture the blowing mind, you can capture the blowing wind, but not the mind. Okay, so if it is difficult to control the wind, then it is more difficult to control the mind. So that's why Arjuna said this: mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Okay, now, okay, so I just mentioned this. Okay, so now what happens to the chariot if the senses or mind is in control instead of the intelligence? So can you see this? There are horses, you have the reins, and there is intelligence here. What if the mind and the senses control the intellect? Questions for you to think. The passenger should be the controller, okay, not the horses. Okay, the passenger should tell the horses where to go. Now, if the horses gets the control over the chariot, what will happen to the chariot? Okay, a modern example. You are a passenger in your Grab. Okay, you should tell the Grab where to go, Grab driver. If the driver does not listen to you and decided to take the car wherever he wants, so what happens? What will happen, Mataji and Prabhu?
You end up paying extra bill.
What is that?
You'll end up paying extra bill.
Pain, extra pain. Very good. Some more?
Your bill will come out extra.
A bill? Yeah, that is a pain also. You are paying.
The horses will go haywire, and then eventually it will topple, and then eventually somebody might die. Somebody
will be delayed also.
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu.
You'll be delayed also when you're
will be delayed. Oh, you are very mild, very kind. What worse could happen?
I think like a runaway train, there's no direction, just go and hit bang and crash.
Yeah, so what does that smell?
trouble.
Trouble, super. That is the bullseye that I expect somebody to hit. It will lead to trouble. Okay, other than that, if you let your senses and mind control you, control us lah.
Chaos.
Chaos, very good.
I think all the 5 senses will go in a different direction, so you'll be
Different
torn.
direction. Okay, yes, it will lead us to do unwanted things which we will regret. Okay, so therefore we do not want to be driven by our mind and senses. So we leave that job to intelligence and soul to do. Okay, all right. So this one also I mentioned, such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga, but such practice is never practical for a worldly person like Arjuna. What to speak of modern day people like us? Oh, this is me. This is definitely me. How many of you this? All right. So what is the solution for people like this? People like me, people like us. So we fall back to Sabda Praman, hearing from great personalities and hearing from scriptures. So this one we covered in week 2, sources of knowledge. Lord Chaitanya says, the easiest way to control the mind is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the great mantra for deliverance in all humility. Okay, with humility, we chant this mantra, it will be able to control the mind. Okay, so at this point, right, I would like to check if there's still anybody who have not started chanting. I really request you all to try to start 1 round per day. Okay, by now when you're finishing module 2, you should be chanting 4 rounds. So you can have 2 rounds in the morning, 2 rounds at night, like that, or you can finish all 4 rounds in the morning and see what difference it's gonna give you, whether you feel better at work and when you perform your functions throughout the day. Okay, or you want to have 2 in the morning, 2 at night, so you are sandwiched. Okay, a good beginning and a good end. So please try to do that and see how it helps you. Okay, I actually tested that today with my my watch here, because the doctor diagnosed something with me. So I was doing chanting in the morning, in the temple, and when I came back, I decided to see how was my heartbeat doing. And surprisingly, I'm not very surprised, but it gives me greater faith that it actually brings down the heart rate, the pulse rate during that particular moments. So I would like to beg you all to start chanting and see how it helps you with your mental health and everything. But spiritually, it will be very helpful for you to advance in spiritual life, because no matter how much knowledge we are acquiring here academically, okay, no matter how much we are acquiring knowledge academically, but if you do not put in this practice, then it's very difficult to taste it. It's like you're admiring the honey bottle from the outside. Okay, it's very organic, it is done in a very ethical way and everything, but to taste the honey, to actually relish the honey, the full glory of the honey, you have to taste the honey. So what I'm trying to tell you all is, please try to taste the honey from now onwards already. So every day you do 1 round. After 1 month, you're comfortable, right? You increase to 2 rounds. So you should be able to comfortably do 4 rounds. Okay, for those who are initiated, I don't have to say anything. Maybe the quality can be increased. So how do you increase the quality? By reading. Okay, this is what Guru Maharaj said when somebody asked him a question, if I don't read, can I just chant? Will that be okay? Then Guru Maharaj said, of course, chanting itself is sufficient. Okay, however, we don't want to go to an extent where when somebody asks or you started thinking, why am I chanting? I don't know why I'm chanting, because of Kasthuri Mataji asked me to chant, I'm chanting. No, we don't want that. You want to read so you can relish Krishna's qualities. Okay, so Krishna's glories. So when you chant, you will remember Krishna when you do that. Okay, so basically when we chant, we are actually asking Krishna, please engage me in your devotional service. So this is the safest prayer. Okay, I'm telling you from experience, prayers can also go wrong because sometimes we don't know what we pray for. So this is a very safe prayer and Krishna knows what to give you. Okay. All right, so this is not really a breathing exercise, Mataji. It's the transcendental vibration. It's very difficult for me to explain. You have to feel it to give the testimony. Okay, it's a transcendental vibration. It works like that. Okay,
The reason why I asked Mataji was because every time I lose my temper, every time my emotions change, I don't explain to people, I don't show my anger, I chant.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes,
Also that's what you do. That's how chanting helps me.
yeah.
So it became
Remember,
a habit.
Prema Mataji also shared that. Yes,
She
so,
today, Mataji.
she says she can see improvement in her temper management. So this is it. This is how. Yeah. All right. So and this is not a temporary effect. So of course it takes practice. Sometimes you feel very good and very divine, but suddenly the quality goes down. So why? Because we have not sufficiently hearing and reading. So you do this, okay, and then it will come back. All right.
And then it becomes a habit. When you're walking, you chant. When you're running
Correct.
on the treadmill, you chant because
Yeah,
it's
it just
chanting
vibrates
your
in your mind, isn't it?
You're chanting exactly. You're chanting in your head.
Yes.
It became a habit, Laz. I just wanted to share.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, yeah, I'm so happy that you shared this, Mataji. So I hope everybody can take inspiration from this sharing. So even if you have some kind of sharings, please share. Usually Indra Mataji will share. Prema Mataji is not here, so we are missing her. Okay, so like that. So we continue to share, and then Lord Chaitanya continues to say this: Savai Manaha Krishna Padara Vindayo. One must engage one's mind fully in Krishna. Only then will there remain no other engagement to agitate the mind. Because an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So you give one space for a lot of things to enter, that's it. Okay, that's the downfall, beginning of the downfall. So we always want to keep the mind engaged. If you remember the genie story, the genie says that if you don't give me work, I'm going to eat you up. So the master has to keep giving the genie some work, go up and down the bamboo tree. Okay, so have to keep engaging the mind, because the mind is like a monkey, right? We all know that verb, the proverb, right? Mind is like a monkey. Okay, so next. We are still in chapter 6 where Arjuna complains and then Krishna gives the solution. This is a very famous solution. Okay. Who wants to read? Indra Mataji, are you on 2 devices? I just want to check if it's you then. Okay. Meena Mataji, would you like to read the English? Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Mataji.
Indra Mataji, would you like to read the English?
Can, Mataji.
Maybe you can switch or mute the other device. So. Mataji, you muted both, I think. Okay.
Can read, Mataji, please.
You can mute one device. Okay, never mind. I think we go on to another person. Anybody else? Kajai Mataji?
Lord Sri Krishna said, "O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment."
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So, this is the solution that Krishna gives. 2 solutions: practice and detachment. Practice, detachment, practice, detachment. We can also practice it in our chanting. Okay, we practice. Why am I not getting quality chanting? Why out of the 7 minutes, maybe 5 minutes I have full focus. After the 2 minutes, my mind goes for a slow walk. You bring back that mind. Okay, you detach the mind from all the other enjoyments. Okay, hang on, the work can wait for a while. Finish this. This is how you constantly do this. So Krishna understand. Krishna never ridicule Arjuna. Arjuna, come on, you're such a warrior. How can you say this? You're such a fool. How can this kind of things come upon you? He never says that. I understand, but it's possible with practice by detachment. Okay. All right. So Krishna also admitted. He says that yes, the mind is restless. Okay. So Arjuna was not wrong. Now, this one we covered in level 1 and level 2. But in detail, we did not cover what is practice and what is detachment. So that is what we're going to cover in this slide. Okay, I think this font is a bit small, but is this still readable? Anybody would like to read?
It's still readable, Maji.
Okay, Tamare Mataji.
Okay, you gotta give me a minute. I gotta get the glasses.
Classes. Okay, I can hear that.
Okay, hold on, hold on. Okay.
Okay.
Practice. Sorry, engage in 9 type of devotional service. DS.
Devotional service.
Devotional service begins with hearing about Krishna. Hearing, very powerful, transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one become enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya.
Vairagya.
Vairagya means detachment.
Mataji, we lost you. Oh, is it my line?
No, I think it's a line.
Tamare Mataji? Okay, it's okay. Luckily, it's just almost the end. Okay, so let me just go through that. Okay, practice means the 9 types of devotional service. Okay, preached by Prahlad Maharaj. Okay, what is the first 3 devotional services that you all remember? Very important.
The chanting and all that. Mataji.
Yes. What is the first 3, Mataji? At least the first 3?
The kirtanam.
Yes, yes,
The ones.
yes.
Kirtanam, pranamam. You cannot remember all the words.
Pravanam,
Kirtanam.
Maranam. Yeah, it starts like that. Sravana starts from hearing. Okay, see, that's the next line. Devotional service begins with hearing about Krishna. Okay, why? It is a very powerful transcendental method to release all the misgivings from the mind. So the more you hear about Krishna, the more we become enlightened. Okay, it's like a basket. Sometimes we think that we don't remember things. Why I read so many slokas, I still can't remember. Why I finished my level 1, level 2, still cannot remember. Why I finished level 3 in week 21, the first week topic we don't remember. Why? It's okay, Tamari Mataji. Thank you. All right. Why? So there was a story. There was a story about this student. He kept saying that I read so many things, but I still can't remember what to do, Guru. So the Guru will give him a dirty basket. Okay, a dirty basket. Go and fetch water from the river and come and pour inside this pot. So the student was thinking, how can I fetch water in this basket? Okay, it doesn't contain the water at all. Then the Guru said, just do it. So he went and he took the dirty basket and he fetched water, so-called fetch water, and came and then tried to pour in the pot, but there was no water. Then he keeps doing that because the Guru already instructed him to do that. So he kept doing it, but there's no water because it just doesn't hold the water. The basket is full of holes, so it just water seeps through. Then the student went to the Guru and said, Guru, you asked me to do this, fetch water and pour in the pot. I came to you with a problem, but you told me to do this. So what is the connection? Why you asked me to do this? Then he said, do you remember the basket that I gave it to you? Yeah, it's such a dirty basket with lots of holes. I cannot, hold water. Now look at the basket. Now the basket looks so clean because there were many times he actually put it in the river, took it out and tried to take the water, right? So in that process, the basket became clean, even though the water did not stay. So this is how the spiritual knowledge makes lots of difference in us. Okay, you will never know how much you remember or how much you can retain when actually the transformation has been already taking place in you. You will realize one day. Okay, I hope you're already realizing it. Okay, so don't be worried if you think you can't remember things, but one day when you're in a situation, suddenly Krishna will give you this Bhagavad Gita sloka in your mind and you'll be able to solve or manage the situation. Okay, so all this I'm saying some from my experience, some what I'm reading. Okay, so if I don't experience this, I will not be able to tell you. All right, so you have to give yourself out, let go yourself and feel it. You have to relish that experience. Okay, so if you don't let go yourself, it's very difficult. Okay, and also don't worry if you don't remember a lot of this. You can keep reading, keep asking, and keep practicing. Okay, so you will be able to reflect and remember and reflect. What else? By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. So that means you're disengaging your mind, things that are not favorable to Krishna consciousness or spirituality. You are learning vairagya. Vairagya means detachment. Okay, so let us have someone to read these bullets under detachment. Anybody else convenient to read? Kanti Mataji, is it convenient for you to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can.
Okay. Detachment. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is very difficult. It is easier to attach the mind to the activities of Krishna. By hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit, just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So detachment means what detachment we are talking about? Detachment from matter. And when you detach something, you want to engage in something. You cannot keep it idle. All right. So you detach from matter and you engage in the mind in spirit, spiritual things. Okay. So what else? So this is how, if you continuously practice this discharge of devotional service, you will feel transcendental satisfaction. Okay, because your mind is already engaged in something with a higher taste, so you will let go all the things that has been giving you the lower taste. So that's how it works. So practice and detachment. Okay, it is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. So you need two things, practice and detachment. One practice is by taking this medicine. This medicine is hearing of the transcendental activities of the Lord, is therefore expert treatment for the mad mind. So we are full of madness. Okay. And then what is the vairagya? What is the discipline that you need? You have to be disciplined in the diet. How? Eating the food stuff offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. So medicine and diet are two crucial things for us to treat any disease. So same goes to this material consciousness. All right, so we need practice and detachment. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. And with that, Krishna gives this conclusion. Somebody, can we have someone to read this 6.5 translation? Anyone? Yashodamai Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation.
Yes, yes.
One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well.
Okay, yes, that's right. Thank you, Mataji. Right, so you treat that like a genie. Okay, you have to control him. If not, he will control you. So like that, we have to control the mind. If not, the mind will control you. And if you let the mind control you, like the Grab driver taking you here and there, you will end up in higher bill or wrong place or in trouble and or doing factually speaking, we might end up doing things that we don't want actually. Okay, and then we regret. Okay, so we don't want that. The mind must be trained properly so that it can deliver one from nescience it will not be attracted by the glitter of material nature. So the mind should be trained so that it doesn't get attracted. Oh, this is so nice, so nice. After that, it will end up as lead us to trouble, like I say, unwanted things which we will regret. Okay, so the mind is an important thing for us to have control on, because it is the cause of bondage. The mind will start telling you, why don't you do that? Why don't you enjoy this? Okay, if you do this, then the activity is going to give us reactions. And when there are reactions, which means there is bondage. Okay, if there is a bondage, then we are moving away from liberation. Okay, but if you are able to control the mind can help us to go back to the spiritual world. Okay, to go back to the source. In that way, the mind can be helpful for our liberation. Okay, mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage. This is where everything starts. First, the mind starts contemplating, okay, on sense objects. Okay, it will start thinking first. Okay, sometimes they say, no, I'm not doing, I'm just thinking. No, when you keep thinking it, you will do it. All right, that's the sad part. All right, so first you have to detach the mind from the sense objects, not just refraining the working senses from doing things. Okay, the mind should not be engaged in that. All right, so therefore the mind, which is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, is the cause of supreme liberation. So avoiding the mind being the cause for sense objects, now we are diverting it to be engaged in spiritual activities. So that's how we disengage and engage. Okay, here Krishna talks about the same thing. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Okay, so we have one concluding slide here. Can we have Indra Mataji? Is your mic okay? You want to read?
I think so.
Okay.
Can Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One who cannot control his mind lives away with the greatest enemy. And thus his life and its mission are spoiled. As long as one's mind remains an unconquered enemy, one has to serve the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. But when the mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide by the dictation of the personality of Godhead, who is situated within the heart of everyone as Paramatma.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Okay. All right, so we are going to do an exercise here. Okay, let me do this. How do I do this? Can you all see this screen?
Yeah.
Can Mataji?
Yes.
Okay, come, let's arrange. What goes first?
At the bottom?
Let's start from here. I'm gonna
Increasing superiority.
Yes. So which one is the lowest?
Body.
All right, body. Let's go to body. After body?
Sense.
Intelligence.
Sense.
Intelligence.
After body is sense. Sense.
I think
This is mine.
body.
After body is sense.
Sense. Okay.
Then
So
it should
higher
be
than senses?
mind.
Mind. Higher than mind?
Intelligence.
Intelligence. And the boss comes soul. Okay, that's correct. Okay, Now we are back to the normal view. Okay. All right, so this is correct. Body, senses, mind, intelligence, and soul. Okay, so I would like you all to share something, but I think we don't have so much time. Okay, never mind. Can we have at least one person to share? Would you like to make your mind a friend? How will you do this? Oh, just now Kajai Mataji already shared. I think her way is chanting. Okay, anybody would like to take a vow or something now? How would you like to make your mind a friend? Now you know who is the bigger. The soul is bigger than the intelligence. Intelligence is bigger than the mind. So you will not let your mind tell you, I think my mind is telling me to do this. I'm going to do this. No, what is your intelligence saying? All right, intelligence follow what the soul is saying. The soul knows that it's a spirit and part and parcel of the Lord. So it always wants to engage activities that is favorable for spiritual consciousness. Okay. All right. So let's hear from Tamari Mataji. Would you like to share?
Now, I was just thinking when you said we have to follow the soul. Remember, you said before that our soul is somewhere near the heart, right? So always follow the heart.
Follow the heart.
Yeah, always follow the heart. Yeah, now I understand when people say follow the heart. Follow the soul, yeah. So
that's right, Mataji. But we wouldn't know whether it's that mind telling us or the soul is telling us.
yeah, correct.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anyhow, so I think literally what they're saying is that follow the intelligent, follow the soul, right? So I suppose the word is correct. It's just that we are not sure.
Right.
Well, it's absolutely correct. When our mind is very calm and settled, calm and control, I think we can achieve a lot of stuff. And to make it calm, I think one way is always the prayers,
Yes.
So prayers, of course, chanting Hare Krishna mantra is, it's good. It's good. Pretty good.
Right. Yes. That's right, Mataji. Correct. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing.
Yeah.
All right. So we are also taking the examples and inspiration that this is the ideal way to handle situation when you're angry, stressed, or tense. Okay. So right today, I saw that it's measurable. It is directly perceived and measurable. It can be measured. So the other day I was having a second week of level 3 for the new batch, and we were talking about the sources of knowledge, right? And how we wanted to avoid having blind faith and we want to have reasonable faith. So reasonable faith is defined in a way that you can verify, you can find the authenticity, you can it should be sensible and verifiable. So all our devotional practices, right, it's actually you can directly perceive it and you can actually measure it. Okay, if your chanting is not good, it means you probably would have mentally offended somebody like that. So how do you correct it immediately? You mentally glorify that person. It may not be only devotees, you see, it can be anybody around you. So you try to glorify them, and then you chant. It will be easy for you. You can relish the nectar more. So all this can be immediately felt. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to explain here. So you can do this. So it's a very good application. Please try and share how it has changed you and things have improved in your life. All right, so as usual, we will read something from the Nectar of Holy Name section. Can somebody read this? Who can read? Kajai Mataji, you can read fast.
Okay, Mataji. Control mind by Bhakti Yoga. The mind is chanchala, flickering, and it changes very strongly. Therefore, Arjuna admitted that controlling the mind is not at all possible. This would be as difficult as controlling the wind. For example, if one were in a boat moving according to the wind on a river or a sea, and the wind were uncontrollable, the tilting boat would be very much disturbed and extremely difficult to control. It might even capsize. Therefore, in the Bhava Samudra, the ocean of mental speculation and transmigration to different types of bodies, one must first control the mind. By regulative practice, one can control the mind, and this is the purpose of the yoga system, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. But there is a chance of failure with the yoga system, especially in this age of Kali, because the yoga system uses artificial means. If the mind is engaged in Bhakti Yoga, however, by the grace of Krishna, one can very easily control it. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Namaiva Kevalam. One should chant the holy name of the Lord constantly, for the holy name of the Lord is none different from Hari, the Supreme Person.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So that's the control of mind by Bhakti Yoga. Okay, we move on to sharing is caring. Okay, preaching is the essence. So I hope you have been sharing a lot of information that you have learned with the people around you, and you will continue to share, so that this is a way also to remember what we have learned. Okay. Okay. Yashoda Mai Mataji, would you like to read?
Okay. Preaching is the highest welfare activity. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. Under the circumstances, transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their heckling after reading some interesting literature. In the beginning, they may not like it because one suffering from the jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy. But we should know that sugar candy is the only remedy for jaundice. Similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature, the other literatures which are gathering poison to society will then automatically cease.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So here it is said that there's lots of unnecessary reading materials in the market. Okay, but we need to make a Bhagavatam, a Bhagavad Gita, to be shared widely. Okay, just like a jaundice person, a person suffering from jaundice might initially find a sugar candy, which is the treatment. This Prabhupada always gives an example. A jaundice person will find the sugar candy to be bitter, but you have to keep taking it to feel the sweetness of it. Okay, so it will taste like poison in the beginning and nectar at the end. Okay, so it is recommended that information Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam actually will solve a lot of problems in the modern world. All right, so it is called Trikala Jnana. Trikala Jnana means these scriptures have information of the past, information of the present, and information for the future. So these are called Trikala Jnana Sastras. All right. Okay, so usually we will end with the video of Srila Prabhupada. So we have a 4 minutes video here. There is no subtitles. I can share the description later, but you just try to listen. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The mind means controlling all the senses. So if you control the mind, then all the other senses will be controlled. So therefore it is advised that you engage your mind in Krishna. Vācāṅsi vaikuṇṭha gunānuvardhane. And Bhakti the voice, and voice, arms, legs, hands, and genitals, So voice should be engaged in vibrating Krishna activities. You read Bhagavad Gita, read Srimad Bhagavatam, and talk about Krishna, then voice is engaged. Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunanuvarnani. Always engage your voice in chanting or speaking about Krishna. The mind is engaged automatically. Then arms, the hands, is engaged in cleansing the trade. Sri Vigraharatana Nityanana Sringara Dhanamandiravarjana. This is advice. This is business of Guru to engage. How the arms can be engaged. You can engage your arms for decorating the deity, for seeing the clothing, dress, garland. In this way, you can engage your arms. Voice is speaking about Krishna. Eyes to see Krishna nicely decorated. Come to the temple. For coming to the temple, your legs will be used. And after coming to the temple, your hands will be used. Your eyes will be used. Your ear will be used. Your tongue will be used. Chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam. In this way, if we engage all our senses in Krishna consciousness, then we are victorious. Otherwise it is not possible. Sabai mana Krishna padar vindre, vachansi vaikuntha gunanuvarnane. We have got our senses. Senses cannot be stopped working. That is not possible. Then how we can control the senses? You can control the senses by engaging all of them in Krishna's service. That is important. Otherwise, therefore our business is, first of all, you have to fix up your mind in Krishna. Always think of Krishna. That is advised by Krishna. Manvana bhava madakapta madhyaji mag namaskuru. These four principles guarantees. Krishna says, Mami Vaishyasi Samsaya. If you simply execute these four things, then Krishna guarantees asamsaya, without any doubt, you are coming back to me, back to home, back to God.
Okay, so if you have carefully listened, Prabhupada actually given a lot of examples how we can engage all our limbs in the devotional services. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Okay, any questions? That's the end of the class. Okay. Kajai Mataji. Hi, Louis.